Hi everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. It's the start of the week, it's Monday, it's question of the week, the day where I pose a comic book related question and then you get to respond in the comment section down below, and then I give you the opportunity to pose me a question to which I'll respond to in next week's video. There were some great questions last week. I'm really looking forward to responding to those at the end of this video. From now on, if you get a question answered of yours and you do videos, I'll also be putting a link in the description bar to your channel, just in case there's someone out there that still hasn't found your channel, and get you some views and some subscribers hopefully. So this week my question to you, I was reading an article on Robot 6 and it was entitled "The Completionist Age is Over," and I didn't quite understand what the guy was really trying to say, because he'd seemed to taken the whole idea of completing like runs and series to the extreme, where it seemed to me, unless I misread it, that it was like you collected everything Marvel ever did or everything DC did. And in that respect, right now, I think that would be impossible, and you would have to have huge amounts of money and huge amounts of time at your disposal to be able to read all those comics. As nice as it sounds, I don't think that would be possible for anybody. But it got me thinking, and I hear, because I watch all your videos, that there are people out there trying to complete certain runs, and that's my question this week. What run of comics are you currently trying to attempt to complete? Now, they could span decades of comics, or they could just be like a really hard to find kind of mini series. But generally, what current comic book series are you trying to get a complete run of? That's your question of the week. So we move on to your questions. So I'll get my faithful pad out with all your questions on, and we're gonna there were some long questions, and there was some very kind of head scratching, what do I answer to these kind of questions? So I'm going to kick off with Bay Harper. Now, his was a bit of a moral dilemma. I have no morals. But here we go. If you were a superhero and had the ability to fly as well as fire resistant, and you went into a burning building to save the last person, which is a child, and you see your superpowered girlfriend sidekick stuck and about to burn, you can only save one before the building explodes. Who would you save and why? My God! Well, I'd obviously save the child. Sidekicks are one a penny. I can train this kid up. I've just saved their life. They're probably now an orphan. Their parents probably burnt in the building. So I'll take them in Bruce Wayne style and train them up to be my sidekick. So I've got a new sidekick. There you go. Question answered. Jess S, always a favourite commenter of mine. We have chats about TV programmes on Twitter. But she asked this week, what comic series ending left you the most disappointed or frustrated, and why? I had to have a little bit of a search around for this. Usually I'm more disappointed and frustrated because series just generally end. So things like John Constantine Hellblazer, the Vertigo line, very disappointed to see that end, and doubly disappointed that he got transferred into the main DC universe and suddenly basically lost his balls. And became this kind of Hellblazer-like character. Wasn't particularly happy about that. Obviously, The Sandman, I would still love to see that going, but Neil Gaiman had an ending and he ended it, despite now giving us a little bit of a prequel to his phenomenal Vertigo series. So that was disappointing. Another one for me, these all seem to be Vertigo books. Y the Last Man kind of disappointed me in the sense that I knew it could only end one way, and it did. And I just thought I was being unimaginative and kind of not thinking outside the box. But when it came to the end, and I'm not going to spoil it here for you, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, a brilliant series. Y the Last Man is a fantastic Brian K. Vaughan pen story, which if you haven't read, just go pick up in trades. It's fantastic. But I was incredibly disappointed towards the end. What else? Current comics that have come out lately, it's usually kind of mini-series that kind of frustrate and disappoint me. Lately, IDW, Stephen Niles' title, Monster and Madman. It was a 3-issue mini-series about this kind of secret history of Jack the Ripper and Frankenstein's monster. And I kind of said in my review of the second issue that, you know, for such a short story, I couldn't really understand where this was going to go or how this could be fleshed out any. And I was right in some respects. It would have been great to see that maybe double its size to a 6-issue so we could flesh out the characters of the Ripper and the Frankenstein's monster, but it wasn't to be. So there you go, Jess, that's that question. Why Not Art, Tony, great YouTuber, a very dangerous channel to watch because he does his comic hauls and he has got such an eclectic taste in comics, and he shows these comics that I have never even heard of before, let alone seen, and I go, I might have to start looking for that, and I have a long list of comic book titles that I'm like, I'm going to look at that next time I go out hunting comics. So thanks for that, Tony. He went for it. He asked quite a few questions, so I'm going to kind of ask them. There was one question I think we've answered before, so I'll answer that first. And that was, if you were not collecting comics, what would it be? And I think I've said in the past that I'd probably go back to collecting my kind of movies and DVD collections. I used to have a huge collection of DVDs. They eventually got lent out, never got back, or sold to pay bills, stuff like that. And now with, like, you know, Netflix and Love Film, Amazon Prime, whatever you want to call it now, and all those dodgy websites around, I can watch films quite easily and readily without having to go out and buy them. But I always used to love, you know, having the DVD in my hand and the box. So it would probably be my DVD movie collection. He also asked, keeping on with the film vibe, what was the last movie you saw and did you enjoy it? I actually watched last night for the first time Slaughterhouse-5. I'd not read the book, so I had no points of comparison with the film, but it was a strange one. I enjoyed it. It was pretty kind of trippy in parts. It's basically about this guy, and we see his life from like a child and then in the future, and the story kind of time hops between periods of his life, and I'm not really sure, I'm not a huge kind of like critic of movies and can understand what really is going on under the layers, because this is a film that I think was trying to say something. The only thing I really could get out of it was kind of like the perseverance of humankind and what they do to get to, you know, to fulfill their lives and to come to a point where obviously they eventually die. But I enjoyed it. The weekend I watched Oculus. If you haven't seen Oculus and you're a fan of Doctor Who, and obviously the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the girl out of Doctor Who plays Amy Pond is in it. She plays the main character, and it's kind of this haunted house, mirror, possession, ghost story, and it's really, really good. It's been a long time since I've seen like a scary movie, because it's not gory particularly, but it kind of follows the kind of make you jump when you least expect it kind of genre of horror. So I would certainly say go out and look for that if you're into the kind of horror, spooky stories film genre. The other two questions he asked were, what are your weekends like and what is your guilty pleasure? My weekends, we go out occasionally, go on kind of road trips kind of thing, day outs to places we've not been before in the surrounding area, and go shopping and maybe find a comic book shop here and there. But after a long week at work, I'm usually I just want to rest and chill out, and that kind of where my guilty pleasure falls in, because I do binge watch a lot of American sitcoms. I don't know that. I mean, I know they're not the greatest thing. They're like a McDonald's. You eat one, and after like 10 minutes, you're hungry again, and you've forgotten about the last one. The latest American sitcom I'm kind of binge watching, and please don't judge me, is Two Broke Girls. I'm on to season 2, and it's funny. I like it. So that's my guilty pleasure. Next, Parker Rizzo, he of the CGC obsession. I know there's a lot of you out there who don't quite get encasing your comic books in plastic and not being able to read them and touch them, but I get why he does it, and it kind of fits in with the question he's asked, which is quite a morbid question, as he said. But he's currently CGCing all, obviously, his best comics, the ones that are worth the most, and he's going to leave them to his wife and his children to do as they will, and if that is to sell them, then so be it. So he asked me, do I have someone in mind that I want all my comics to go to, or are you going to sell them in later years? And to be honest, I'd not really thought about it until you asked. I think I've said in other videos that, way back now, I was in a lot of financial straits, a lot of debt, and it was a case of having to sell a lot of my stuff. But I'd always said, no matter how hard up I got, I was never ever going to sell my comic book collection. Unfortunately, I didn't have to. So what am I going to do with it? My partner has no interest in comics, so they won't want it. So if they do take it, they'll probably just sell it. I know what, I'll get one of those crypts, and I can have all my comic books stacked all around me. Yeah, we'll do that, should we? Yeah, I'll have to save up a little bit of money for that. Joshua Hayes, Bat Josh, please definitely go and see Joshua Hayes' channel. He is specifically reviewing all the kind of Bat related titles. He does a great job. It's basically an issue, a video, and he does a bang up job. He's the guy that I will go to if I'm not sure about a character, about what's just happened. He knows a ton of history, and I can't wait till he gets sorted out in his new home, because he's promised a video showing his kind of Batcave, his collection of comics, and I'm really looking forward to that. He asked such a great question. I love this, and I had 3, and I kind of had to scratch my head a little bit for the last one, but then it kind of light bulb moment. So he asked, if you had a room with 4 walls, Generally a room has 4 walls, but we'll go on. And you had the opportunity to have 4 comic book artists all time draw 4 respective murals, your choice of source material. Which 4 artists would draw which murals on your 4 walls? Whew. Some long old questions this week. Okay, clearly my very first artist would be Jack Kirby. You could not have 4 artists without throwing the king in. And I would want him to draw the source wall, a wall on a wall. I think it was first mentioned, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but mentioned in one of my favourite series from Jack Kirby, The New Gods. And I would just love to see this huge wall, source wall on my wall. My next one is one of my favourite artists currently working, is Chris Bachalo, or Chris Bachalo, however you want to pronounce his name. I love his comic book art, and I would basically just have him do kind of a group team X-Men kind of mural with some of my favourite characters in a kind of dynamic pose all together. My third one was Brandon Graham. I just want him to draw one of those fantastic kind of graffiti style cityscapes he does so well. If you're not aware of Brandon Graham's work, then go find King City or Multiple Warheads, and you will understand the kind of amazing kind of environments and cityscapes he creates. And he's one of those artists that you really have to kind of study the pages so you don't miss every little detail that he puts on there. So that's my third one, and I kind of scratched my head a great deal about the next one. I was kind of toing and froing between lots of artists, and then all of a sudden my eye kind of was in the corner of my eye, I saw my Man-Thing omnibus, and I went, of course, Mike Ploog, he can do me a Man-Thing coming out of this kind of swamp, just a great scene of like a swamp environment, and have my Man-Thing coming out of it. Oh, it's so wrong. Mr. Gretzky 9966. He has a channel I did not know. While I was checking through all you guys who has answered questions, I'm really sorry. You have to tell me if you comment on my videos and you have videos and I'm not already subscribed, please let me know and I'll go and check out your videos. So he's going to get a link in the description bar below. Mr. Gretzky 9966 asked if you could swap one character from DC with one from Marvel for a mini series of 4 books, who would it be and why? Oh my goodness. Let's stick Doctor Strange in the Justice League Dark team, obviously because he's got the whole occult magic thing going for him, and we will remove, oh gosh, DC. Who could we take out of DC? Oh, we'll take out Batman out of the DC universe, and we will plonk him in the Daredevil universe, but not where he is now in California, in Hell's Kitchen, because they're kind of similar, kind of you've got your street level kind of thugs and villains that Gotham has, but also you have those outlandish, more kind of villainous characters such as kind of the Owl and the Kingpin, Mr. Fear and all those. So he has his kind of rogues gallery as well. So I think he would fit in very well in Devil's Kitchen. So there you go. Finally, Sam Wright asked a question, and I have to just kind of bring this up on my computer a second because I need to double check on this. He asked about these leaked DC film plans from Kevin Smith for the next 4 years, and he asked me how I felt about the films that have been selected. Now, basically, let me bring it over on my laptop. Right, so I'll just give you the list first. So apparently, I mean, this isn't confirmed. I mean, sure, it's Kevin Smith and he is kind of in the know. He's not particularly associated, as far as I know, with any of these films, and he's not really been ever wrong in the past. So, but there are some strange choices. So we've got May 2016, it's Batman vs Superman in Dawn of Justice. July 2016, it's Shazam. Christmas 2016, Sandman. May 2017, Justice League. July 2017, Wonder Woman. And Christmas 2017, Flash and Green Lantern Team Up. And May 2018, Man of Steel 2. There are some very strange choices there. Let's go with Shazam first. I don't think, you know, the general public know anything about Shazam. He's never been mentioned in any of DC's films previously. I can see they're probably going to do what Marvel have done with Guardians of the Galaxy, and nearer the time there will suddenly be a Shazam title to kind of pump up hype and interest in the character to warrant having this movie. Sandman, I should never think would happen, and I still hope it doesn't. I've spoken about that before. Justice League, well, there was bound to be one eventually. Wonder Woman, well, they tried and tried to do a TV series, so whether that will still go ahead in the film version of it. The Flash and Green Lantern team up. It's interesting that DC don't think either of them can warrant a film of their own, which is interesting. Flash is just about to have its own CW TV series, so maybe that is why. And then Man of Steel 2, well, there's already been a Man of Steel, so obviously there's going to be a sequel. I still haven't seen the first one. So it's a very mishmash patchwork set of films, which I don't know whether most of them will really either take off, actually be successful and make it to the cinema screens, and others that were kind of obvious and it's about time, DC. So those are the questions this week. Thank you, they were awesome. So if you've got any questions for me to answer, pop them in the comments section below. This is my last video of the week. I'm packed and ready to go off on holiday. I will speak to you all soon. Bye bye.